Have you ever had someone constantly push your boundaries, as if your time, your feelings, or even your presence were somehow optional? Maybe it's a coworker who talks over you in meetings, a friend who makes those joking comments that hit a little too hard, or even a family member who always has something dismissive to say. It's subtle at times, other times, it's just plain disrespectful. And the worst part? We often let it slide, thinking it's not worth the confrontation. But let me ask you this. At what point does staying silent stop being strength and start becoming self-betrayal? Too often, we're told to be the bigger person, to let it go, to avoid rocking the boat. But here's the truth, respect isn't a luxury. It's a baseline. And when people repeatedly treat you like you don't matter, it's not just annoying, it's draining. Little by little, it chips away at your confidence, your energy, and your sense of self. That's why this video exists. Today, we're diving into 5 real, practical, and powerful ways to deal with people who don't respect you, without yelling, without becoming someone you're not, and most importantly, without giving up your peace. These aren't fluffy tips. They're grounded in clarity, confidence, and a bit of Stoic wisdom. Because you don't need to fight fire with fire. Sometimes, the most powerful response is stillness. By the end of this video, you'll walk away not just with strategies, but with a mindset shift, one that reminds you that you never have to shrink just to keep the peace. So, if you've ever left a conversation feeling smaller, unheard, or just plain disrespected, stay with me. This is for you. White heavy checkmark strategy 1, the silent stare. It sounds almost too basic, right? But hear me out, because this one technique has changed the way I handle disrespect, and it might just change the way you do too. We're wired to respond. When someone's rude or dismissive, the natural instinct is to defend ourselves. Maybe we explain, argue, or even laugh it off just to keep things calm. But here's what happens: the moment we react, we hand them control of the moment. Now, what if you didn't say a single word? Instead, imagine this: someone throws a passive-aggressive comment your way. Rather than respond, you just look at them, calmly, directly, without emotion. No smirk. No frown. Just stillness. It's uncomfortable. For them. That pause, those few seconds of silent eye contact, shifts everything. Why? Because people who disrespect others are often fishing for control. They want a rise. They want drama. But when you give them silence instead, you take that away. You're saying, without a single word, I see you, but I won't play your game. I remember this moment at a family gathering. Someone made a dig at me, sarcastic, subtle, the kind of thing you're not supposed to react to. Instead of arguing or defending myself, I just looked at them. One calm, steady gaze. You could see the discomfort set in almost instantly. They looked away. Fumbled for the next sentence. And, just like that, the disrespect stopped. No shouting. No lectures. Just presence. The power of the silent stare isn't just in stopping someone else, it's in what it affirms inside you. That you don't owe anyone your peace. That your silence can be a statement of self-worth. That you're allowed to disengage, and still be strong. You're not shrinking. You're standing. This isn't about being cold or arrogant. It's about being composed. It's about choosing not to feed the chaos. And honestly, in a world that thrives on reaction, your calm is disruptive, in the best possible way. So here's your challenge. Next time someone tries to pull you into their storm, don't bite. Don't fight. Just stop. Look them in the eye. Let the silence speak for itself. You'll be amazed at what happens, on both sides. Because respect doesn't always need to be demanded. Sometimes, it's simply claimed. With a stare. White heavy checkmark strategy 2, embrace silence, let it speak for you. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say, is absolutely nothing. Sounds counterintuitive, right? Especially when someone disrespects you, you feel the urge to defend yourself, to explain, to fire back with something sharp and clever. But here's what I've learned: silence isn't weakness. It's precision. Let's be honest. People who throw shade, make cutting jokes, or toss around passive-aggressive remarks, they're often baiting you. They're looking for a reaction to validate their behavior. And when you respond, you're giving them exactly what they wanted. But when you choose silence, when you let their words hang awkwardly in the air, something shifts. Suddenly, they're left alone with their own behavior. No laughter. No defense. Just space, and discomfort. I remember a friend I used to hang out with who had this habit of joking about things I clearly didn't find funny. Always poking at my personal life or decisions under the guise of humor. One day, he crossed the line again. But instead of pushing back or laughing it off, I just looked at him. I raised an eyebrow. I said nothing. That silence. It was deafening. He fidgeted, looked away, and quickly changed the subject. After that, the jabs stopped completely. And that's the thing, silence creates a mirror. It reflects the other person's energy right back at them without feeding into it. It also reinforces a quiet boundary: you don't get access to my peace. There's a deeper strength here too. When you don't explain, don't argue, don't justify, you reclaim your power. You stop leaking emotional energy into conversations that were never meant to build you up in the first place. You don't need to win an argument to prove your worth. You just need to know it. So next time someone makes a snide remark, or tries to throw you off balance with sarcasm, pause. Breathe. Say nothing. Let them feel the silence. Let it stretch. Let it do what words often can't. Because here's the truth: silence isn't passive, it's active restraint. It's choosing peace over performance. And that choice, that's power. White heavy checkmark strategy 3, stop explaining yourself, you don't owe anyone a justification. Let's be real for a second: why do we feel like we have to explain ourselves to everyone? Why we left that job? Why we said no to the party? Why we decided to take a break from that relationship? It's like the world demands a running commentary on your personal decisions. And if you don't offer one, people assume something must be wrong. But here's the truth: you don't owe anyone an explanation for how you choose to live your life. When someone asks, "Why would you do that?" they're not always coming from a place of curiosity. Often, they're judging. Or projecting. Or trying to make sense of a choice they wouldn't have had the courage to make themselves. And the more you explain, the more you open the door to doubt. Not just from them, but from you. I used to fall into this trap all the time. Every major life choice, I felt like I needed to sell it to everyone around me. Like my piece wasn't valid until it made sense to others. But one day, I decided to change that. When someone asked, "Why are you walking away from a stable career?" I simply said, "Because I want to." No follow-up. No defense. Just a full sentence of self-trust. And you know what happened? That conversation ended quicker than usual. Not because I was being rude, but because I closed the door to unnecessary debate. And that moment was freeing. Here's the thing: your choices don't need audience approval. They just need to be true to you. The moment you stop explaining every move, you stop inviting people to judge or dissect your path. And instead, you start walking it, with confidence. Sure, some people won't like it. They'll feel entitled to answers. They'll say you've changed. But here's a question: why is your evolution making them uncomfortable? Maybe it's because your growth challenges the limits they've placed on themselves. So if you're someone who constantly feels the need to over-explain or justify your life choices, here's a new rule: you can politely decline to perform. You can simply say, "It felt right," or "I needed the change," and move on. No PowerPoint presentation required. Let your decisions speak for themselves. Let your peace be your proof. Because when you trust your own path, silence becomes your strength, and your confidence becomes contagious. White heavy checkmark strategy 4, keep your distance, protect your peace by creating space. Here's a tough truth. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. It doesn't matter if they've known you forever, if they're family, or if you used to be close. The reality is, some people are only in your life because you keep the door open. And if that door keeps letting in disrespect, judgment, or negativity, it might be time to close it, quietly, but firmly. I used to believe that distancing myself from people was a sign of failure. Like I was giving up or being cold. But over time, I realized something important: distance isn't about punishment. It's about protection. Think about it, your time, your energy, your presence, these are valuable. Yet too often, we spend them on people who drain us, not lift us. The friend who always makes subtle jabs. The coworker who thrives on drama. The relative who critiques more than they care. At some point, you have to ask. Why am I still letting this person that close? I remember a friend I used to see every week. On the surface, things were fine, but under the jokes and small talk, there was a pattern. Little digs. Dismissive comments about my career, my choices, even my music taste. I laughed it off at first. Told myself I was being sensitive. But deep down, I was walking on eggshells every time we met. So I made a quiet decision. No drama. No big confrontation. I just created space. Instead of seeing them weekly, it became once a month. Then, even less. And with every bit of space, I felt lighter. Freer. More like myself. That's the power of distance. It clears the fog. You start seeing people, and their role in your life, more clearly. Now, here's what usually stops us: guilt. We think, but we've been friends for years, or, they're family, I can't just pull away. But protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's essential. You're not responsible for how others feel about your boundaries. You're only responsible for honoring them. So here's a challenge for you. Take a mental inventory. Who in your life leaves you feeling small, tense, or emotionally drained? Then ask yourself honestly, do they truly deserve the level of access they currently have? Because creating space isn't about pushing people away. It's about making room for what, and who, actually supports your growth. Remember, you're allowed to outgrow relationships. And sometimes, the healthiest thing you can do, is step back. White heavy checkmark strategy 5, hold your head high, confidence speaks without words. You know that moment when someone tries to belittle you, whether it's through a sarcastic remark, a judgmental glance, or a backhanded compliment. Yeah, we've all been there. In those moments, it's tempting to shrink, to avoid eye contact, to doubt yourself, to play small just to keep the peace. But today, I want to offer you a radically simple alternative. Hold your head high. I know, it sounds like a cliché. Something your grandmother might have told you as a kid. But the truth is, this one gesture carries more power than most people realize. When you hold your head high, literally and metaphorically, you're making a statement. You're saying, I know my worth. And nothing you say or do will take that away from me. People who thrive on control, on intimidation, on undermining others, they feed off reaction. They want to see you flinch. They want to see you doubt yourself. But when you walk tall, calm, and composed, it disrupts their entire game. I remember someone in my life who used to make little digs at me. You know the type, always wrapped in humor, but you could feel the sting underneath. For a while, I tried to respond. I tried to laugh it off. I even tried confronting them. None of it worked. But one day, I did something different. I smiled. I stood tall. And I said nothing. Their words bounced off like they were talking to a wall of steel. No reaction. No explanation. Just calm, unshakable presence. And over time, they stopped. Because they realized their words no longer had power. That's the quiet strength of posture. The confidence of body language. And it doesn't require yelling, arguing, or proving anything. It just requires self-respect. When you hold your head high, you remind yourself, and everyone around you, that you belong. That your voice matters. That no one gets to rewrite your story but you. You see, confidence doesn't come from dominating others. It comes from being rooted in who you are, so deeply that external noise can't shake you. So next time someone tries to cut you down, ask yourself. Do I really want to shrink, just to make them comfortable? Or do I want to rise, not for them, but for me? Straighten your spine. Lift your chin. Walk in the room like you were meant to be there. Because you were. Let your posture speak what your words don't need to. Confidence is quiet. But its presence. Unmistakable. Small blue diamond final message, respect starts with you. If there's one thing I hope you take from this video, it's this. Respect always starts with you. It's not something you demand from others. It's something you model, through your actions, your boundaries, and your energy. The way you carry yourself teaches people how to treat you. And when you stop tolerating disrespect, something powerful happens, you stop attracting it. Too often, we shrink ourselves to fit into relationships that aren't built on mutual respect. We stay quiet to avoid conflict. We explain ourselves just to be understood. We let things slide because we're afraid of being too much or too sensitive. But here's the truth. You don't need to earn anyone's respect by abandoning your own. Don't twist yourself just to stay in rooms where your worth isn't seen. Don't lower your standards to keep the peace with people who never bring you peace. Life is too short to stay small for the comfort of others. Instead, choose to live aligned with your values, your vision, and your voice. Hold your head high. Speak less, and let your presence do the talking. Set boundaries not as walls, but as invitations for healthier connection. And most of all, never apologize for choosing yourself. Because when you show up for yourself, consistently and calmly, people take notice. Not everyone will like it. Some will walk away. But the right ones? They'll rise to meet you at the level you've claimed for yourself. So if this message resonated with you today, do me a favor. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Share a story of how you've handled disrespect, or a moment where you chose your peace over someone else's approval. Let's learn from each other. You're not alone in this. And your presence, your quiet, confident presence, has more power than you think. Until next time, take care, stand tall, and remember. Respect doesn't start with them. It starts with you.